Hello, internet friends. You know how the leftist media has been saying that the Muslims who have been diddling and passing around and branding young white girls were called calling them grooming gangs, rape gangs, diddle gangs, whatever, as though it was some sort of phenomenon that was in the deepest, darkest recesses of society, when in reality, it's slavery and slave trade. This gal, she is from England, and she is going to tell you a little bit more about it.
But the media still don't want to use the word slavery because for slavery you need a social setup. Paedophilia, on the other hand, is seen as an aberration and the child is seen as a victim, but the rest of society is perfectly all right because paedophilia is generally something that goes on in secret. There's no secret about slavery. It's a social institution which requires the agreement of the law to enforce it. So these men, and remember, that word is being used in its broadest possible term. Anyway, those men were, well, for goodness sake, they were branding the girls. They were branding them. I don't know whether you've read this, but some of the girls were branded by their owners, by these men who thought of themselves as the owners of these girls. Is this paedophilia? No, it is not. It is slavery. So let's just get the definition straight, because until we do, we can't sort out the problem for what it is. People who take slaves are people who constitutionally believe they're superior and therefore have that right. Such people must be made to know that they're not superior and they don't have that right. And to do that, we have to say it like it is. Now, like it is that these men are Muslims and Islam condones slavery. In fact, it encourages it. Yes, it also says very categorically that it's a good thing to free slaves. But I'm sorry, making you a slave and then freeing you isn't what I'd call the right way round. That's like, well, kicking you in the crotch and then giving you a truss. Anyway, Islam encourages slavery, polygamy, and FGM, and the philosophy that anyone who is not a Muslim is not a whole human being and has some rights, reduced rights, only at the discretion of the Muslim ruling over him or her. These are philosophies directly at odds with the way we've developed our societies in the West, and we should define that and stick to it. Oh, and also there's another consensus word doing the rounds. The crimes being committed by these groups are now being referred to as a rape epidemic. It isn't an epidemic. When German soldiers marched into the British Channel Islands and started applying disgusting racial laws and military rules, that wasn't an epidemic of Nazism. It was a takeover. So we haven't had a rape epidemic here, and we don't have grooming gangs. We have slave traders operating with the sanction of the social services, the police, the law courts, the councils, and even the Cabinet Office. Because some of you may be aware that when this was brought to the attention of Gordon Brown's government in the early 2000s, a directive was sent out to the various organs I have just listed that these girls are making an informed choice, and it will be culturally insensitive to interfere. Let's just get our definitions straightened out, Should we? They are slave traders, and they have been until recently operating with the sanction of the government, various organs of government. And we have to hold them to account for that.
All right, white people, what are we going to do? It's time to put our heads together. Does anybody have any access to 4chan? Can the 4chan folks help us out? We need to change the narrative. We need to force the mainstream media to call this slavery, and we need to make this viral. The fact that our girls are being enslaved on our own shores, I mean, that's just the most disgusting thing that I can even think of. Slavery is not a Western or Christian ideal. This is absolutely disgusting. All right, my generals, I look forward to your comments below.